So is it a business or is it a hobby? I think this is a good question because it can be hard to distinguish whether or not you have a business in some cases. I think a lot of times people have hobbies that turn into businesses, or they think they have a business when really it's a hobby. So I just wanted to address that a little bit in this video. So for starters, I think some people feel like they don't have a business if they don't have, a commercial space, or they don't have a business license, or they've never registered a business name, or they don't have a GST account or whatever. And typically if you are starting a business and operating a business, some of those things you actually do need. But a lot of people will operate a business or engage in business activity without actually going through those formalities and setting those things up. But just because you haven't set those things up doesn't mean you don't have a business. Maybe it depends who you ask, but when we're speaking of the Canada Revenue Agency, what is a business? Well, it's just, any type of activity that is for profit. So even if you're just doing something simple like, baking bread out of your home and selling it, you have a business. Again, maybe you don't have a business name, and maybe you're not filing this on your taxes, maybe you don't have insurance or anything like that, but you have a business. You're engaging in business activity. So yes, the baking, maybe you're making, as I mentioned, bread or cookies or something. Maybe that's a hobby, but if you're selling it and you're profiting from it, you have a business. The same thing with something like photography or personal training or something like that. Like maybe photography is a big hobby for you and you just love it and you do it for free, and that's something you do in your free time. But if someone starts paying you for that, then you're now engaging in business activity, and that is supposed to be reported on your income tax, at least in Canada. And with that, one of the benefits, you do have to claim your revenue, but you can also claim your business expenses. And so that camera can actually be claimed as a business expense or a capitalized business asset, and certain other things, like maybe even, part of your expenses for your home, like your utilities, or for your vehicle, or for supplies you're purchasing for your business, or maybe even your phone. You can start to claim those as expenses to reduce your taxable income. So I think it's great when you can turn a hobby into a business, because then, it doesn't really feel like work, or at least not the same as a more conventional job for most people. But it is important to understand when it's just a hobby and when it's just a business. And that's really what it comes down to, is are you generating revenue? Are you generating a profit from doing so? If so, it probably is a business. And if it's a business, then you should probably follow some of those formalities, some of those steps, like registering the business name, getting a business license, getting a business bank account, maybe getting insurance, and things like that. Now, there are some gray areas, of course. And again, it really comes down to, are you generating revenue and generating profit? Think, for example, if you just like baking and someone says, hey, can you, bake me some cookies or whatever? I will go buy all the ingredients for you. I'll pay for that if you bake for me. In that case, you're still not really collecting money. You're not making a profit. Someone's just providing the materials for you. The same thing if you go, help a friend, build their deck or fence or something. Like if you're just giving them free labor, you're not really profiting. And if you're not profiting, then it's not really a business, unless you're doing some type of barter, which is a whole other topic. But if you have a business and you're bartering with other people, then technically you're supposed to claim that on your taxes as well. But anyways, that's ultimately what it comes down to, is are you making profit off this? Is it a hobby or is it a business? That's what it comes down to. Even with something like YouTube, if you're just making YouTube videos, about a hobby of yours and you're posting them, then you don't necessarily have a business. But if the YouTube channel grows and becomes monetized where you're making money off it, then you do have a business. So the act of what you're doing, the process and how that looks might not change whatsoever. It's the fact that you've monetized your channel and you're making money, that now you have a business, and therefore you should report that business income in the very least on your taxes, and look into some of the other, administrative formalities for making that business official. And one last quick example would be, let's just say you're selling things on like Facebook Marketplace. Well, if you are moving and you're just getting rid of a bunch of stuff and you sold 20 items on Facebook Marketplace, that's not business activity. Yes, you have money coming in, but it's not for profit. If anything, you're probably losing a significant amount of money, because you're selling those items at a discount compared to what you bought them for, and you didn't buy them for resale. You bought them to be the end user, and it just so happens that you don't want them anymore. Now, on the other hand, if you are importing some goods, or buying a bunch of supplies and making something, or taking those imported goods and selling them on Facebook Marketplace, and the whole purpose of buying them was to resell them and to make money, now that still looks the same, where you're just selling things on Facebook Marketplace. but you're doing it for the purpose of profit. And therefore you have a business, and again, should follow some of those steps of registering the business and making it official and looking into things like sales tax accounts. So anyways, I know that this can be a little bit complicated and there can be some gray areas, but hopefully this video gave some clarity. And if so, please click like and subscribe to my YouTube channel here, where I currently have over 230 videos that cover business startup and business management topics.